All right, guys, welcome back to Under the Lights with Nicky Pringles. I hope you all had a blessed Thanksgiving. We're back on the grind. So sorry I haven't posted for a little while. The last post I put out was in regards to the Mike Tyson-Jake Paul fight. I was pretty heated. I think a lot of us were. And I didn't really want to come back and do an episode until I was a little bit calmer. That really bothered me, man. I really hated seeing that happen. And yeah, if you want to see my take on it, it's posted up on TikTok and YouTube. Anyway, that being said, I did want to quickly cover a couple of things today. This is going to be a little bit of a chaotic episode because there's a few things I wanted to touch on, and they're not really connected, but it is all boxing. So that being said, I wanted to jump into the Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor fight. I didn't do it that day when I was doing the Mike Tyson, Jake Paul stuff because, again, I was so furious about that. I just wanted to focus on it and not go too far with everything. But shame on Katie Taylor. I'm just going to get this right out of the way. Shame on you, Katie Taylor. She headbutted Amanda Serrano all night. They should put a fucking glove on her head. Her head actually won the fight. To dig her braids and her head into that gash and try to open it up even more and create possibly permanent damage or maybe even make her blind when boxing's hard enough on its own just because she couldn't win honest. Disgusting. Also, shame on her camp as well and her team. Because her team, I guarantee you, teaches her that dirty boxing shit in the gym, and I guarantee you that was part of their strategy the entire time. I never heard them in the corner telling her to knock that shit off, did you? No. So why don't you just go in there, fight your heart out, and then if you lose, but you lose with honor. Lose with honor. Amanda Serrano, you're a class act. You're a phenomenal fighter. You're obviously the superior boxer to Katie Taylor, otherwise she wouldn't have to resort to that garbage, and I'm genuinely sorry that you had to endure that war and that ref not helping you out until it was way too late and nobody stopping her and no one calling it out. And you had to go through all those rounds and fight your heart out and still not get the nod when you 100% deserved it. So God bless you, Amanda Serrano. Katie Taylor, I think it's time for you to repent, get your shit together, knock that off, say you're sorry, fight her again and fight her honest and just let it be what it's going to be. We don't hate you guys when you lose. There's like this misconception going on these days that if you don't have a O behind your name, like if you have a loss on your record, that you're like not as hot a commodity. Not true at all. We like to see warriors in the ring. We don't give a shit if you win or lose. We want to see people fight their hearts out. We want to see high level skills. We want to see battles, and we respect the losers just as much as the winners. I think that people need to understand this again. We forgot that. I don't know where it went or when it changed, maybe the Mayweather era, whatever the case may be, but it's enough of this shit. Go in there, fight. If you lose, you lose. If you win, great. We love you anyways. Just cut the shit, okay? So once we get back to that, I think boxing as a whole, especially the community, is going to be a million times better. I'm sick and tired of hearing everyone talking about like how much money they make or how many pay-per-views they sell and who's the A side. We don't care. I understand that boxing is a business. We don't give a shit about that. We want you to talk about fighting and be fighters. That's what we want to be entertained by, is the sport, not the business, okay? So that's another thing, too, is like, guys, please cut that shit out, man. Every press conference, oh, I'm the A side, I sell, blah, blah. How many pay-per-views do you sell? Who gives a shit? I want to see you guys fight. So, actually, as a matter of fact, I'll parlay that into my next point. One of the things I wanted to touch on was the Devin Haney situation. So, Devin Haney, as you know, him and his father have been going out and calling Ryan Garcia a cheater and trying to get that loss erased from their record and whining and complaining and bitching and moaning and all this. It's a terrible look. So I would like to offer some advice to Devin Haney because I think there's too much like hate and venom and bile being spewed out when people have their opinions, like get your father out of the camp and he's pimping you out and all this. I understand the relationships between fathers and sons. In their relationship, there is, you can call it intelligence as far as how they move and how they promote themselves and how they brand themselves. But quite frankly, it's super dishonest. It's not true. Everyone can see through it, and that is extremely off-putting. You can't sit there at every press conference and go, alhamdulillah, God is the most perfect of planners, and then bitch and complain about every single thing that doesn't go exactly how you want it to go. You roll with the punches. So my advice to you, Devin Haney, is not to like call you names or call your dad names. I really don't appreciate how your dad operates and how he thinks in general. I know he's your father, but here's the thing. I used to sincerely dislike you as a fighter because of all that dishonest nonsense. Oh, Devin Haney's got power. Bro, you don't have power. Everybody knows it. Stop saying it. Oh, Devin Haney beats all these guys up in sparring, blah, blah, blah. He's miles above them. There's levels to this game. Dude, we get it, man. You're a little bit chinny. You're an excellent athlete. You have phenomenal athleticism. But here's the thing. This is when you actually won me over. It wasn't when you were winning and you never had a loss and all this crap and you were promoting yourself to be the big badass and all this. I actually fell in love with you, man, in two ways. It was when you were losing. When you were losing to Lomachenko and he was beating you up in those later rounds and you were stumbling back to your corner, you never quit. You came out and you fought your heart out, and that's when I became a fan. And then another version of that, again, is in your last fight with Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia was putting a world-class beating on you, the likes of which I've never seen before. But guess what? It showed me your heart. That's what I like about you, man. It's not that you're undefeated. It's not that you're the best out of all of them. I could see in that fight that you're a genuine warrior. It was impressive. You kept getting up off the deck, face swollen, busted jaw, was struggling to come back, struggling to find an angle or an opening in there in general. But I never saw your spirit break, even though like you looked obviously downtrodden because you were getting beat up and all that stuff. And it's frustrating and no one wants that to be them, right? But you never quit. You never took that knee. You never had him throw in the towel. You never made an excuse to get out of there. And every time you did get up, I saw you trying to come back and win. Huge moment. Your spirit is incredible, man. I think that you should focus on that as being your branding, honestly. Stop this always trying to like overcome everybody and be better than everyone and all that stuff. This is what makes you great, man. You're a warrior and you got heart. And I can see you getting better and better. And here's the thing also. People need to understand this. Not everyone has knockout power or is going to have knockout power. That's just not the way it goes. When you don't have that kind of natural power, you have to develop your skill set to such a higher degree to make up for that, that it makes you a mastermind of boxing. That's what I see you, Devin Haney, being in the future. If you can just keep pressing and keep, dedicating yourself to the sport, using that courage and that heart to continue to push forward and better your skill set and stop listening to this weird nonsense that your team is telling you about how, like, you're the greatest thing since sliced bread and nobody can beat you and you have power and blah, blah, blah. Everyone's like, oh, dodging you and all this crap. No one's dodging you, bro. No one's dodging you. Teofimo's not ducking you. I doubt you would ever win that fight if you actually got in there with him, with the mentality that you have now. If you listen to me and lean into your heart, into your grit, and then into your skill set, and then actually accept yourself for what you really are, that would be your superpower. Because then you can model your style based on the truth instead of on a lie, which is never going to get you to where you want to go. So, something I wanted to get out of the way. No hate, by the way. I'm not a huge Bill Haney fan in general. I would say that he got him very, very far with the skills that he does have. But it's all deception, though. That's what I don't like. Sure, you may have made a bunch of money and sold some high-profile fights and gotten up to the big leads and all this, that, and the other thing. But it was grimy the way that it was set up and just the way you guys promoted everything in general. And I don't think that's you, Devin. I don't think that's you who you are. When I see you in the ring, the truth about you, I see a true warrior and a true fighter and a genuine champion. I don't think all that other bullshit is you. So, something to think about. God bless you guys, though, and I hope things continue to work out for you in the future and that you come back strong, man. I really like having you in the game. It's a lot of fun. So, next thing. Teofimo Lopez. Okay, all right, so I understand that Teofimo Lopez is a super polarizing guy in the world of boxing. I am a huge fan of this kid and his dad, quite frankly. I know they're obnoxious and abrasive and they have a lot of bravado and all that, but they're hilarious. And here's the thing. Whether you agree with them or not, sorry, hold on. Sorry, guys, I smoked a bunch of cigarettes last night at my Thanksgiving party, so I'm kind of dealing with that today. Anyways, so whether you like them or not, I could definitely see just by watching them that they operate from the heart. Everything they do is genuine. They mean what they say. They mean what they do. They come in and they fight the hard fights. They don't take any shortcuts and they tell the truth, man. So again, like whether you like them or not, like there's a lot of credibility to be had in that. So aside from that, the reason why I'm so excited to bring this up is, in my opinion, out of Tank Davis, Teofimo Lopez, Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, and etc., I think Tank and Teo are by far the best. Ryan Garcia is a beast too, by the way. I'm not like shortchanging him at all, but they have more dimensions than he has. No doubt about that. I actually think that Teofimo Lopez, the version of him that came in that night and beat Lomachenko, is one of the best fighters on the planet Earth, if not the best fighter in the world. But that's all a matter of his mindset and how he's wired when he comes into the fight. So that being said, his only real problem is that he's been fighting a lot of guys that are running away from him. He's so good and he's so dangerous in general that all they have left is to backpedal and dance on the back foot and not let him cut the ring off and just basically stick and move and just try to frustrate him all night long. And then he gets frustrated. He comes plodding forward. He starts throwing power without setups because he knows that he's superior to them and he's not threatened by them at all. And they run away. And then this weird tag, I guess, freeze tag situation is happening in the ring and it's not entertaining to anybody. So I acknowledge fully and completely that it's Teofimo's job to cut the ring off and to basically make the ring smaller and get to these guys and hurt them. That's his job. That's the one skill set that he's been lacking this entire time, in my opinion. I think he's the most physically gifted. I think he's the most athletic. I think his boxing acumen is miles beyond most of the people that he fights and that he's around in general when his mind is dialed in. And I think the only flaw that he's ever had is that he can't cut off the ring and go get the guy when they're actually actively trying to avoid him. Canelo Alvarez is probably the best at this in the world right now. And Teofimo Lopez just joined Eddie Reynoso's camp. This is going to make Teofimo Lopez the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world and nearly unbeatable. Mark my words. Whether you hate him or love him or whatever you feel about him in general, if you just objectively just look at the raw talent of this kid and look at his accomplishments, look what he did to Richard Comey. Look what he did to Lomachenko. Look what he did to Magdaleno. Look at the style it has. His counterpunching, his feints, his movement, his speed, his devastating power in both hands, his ability to fight in the pocket, outside the pocket. The only thing he didn't have is, like I said, like I keep saying, is cutting off the ring. So I always wanted to see him train with either Eddie Reynoso, who is the perfect complement to Teofimo Lopez's raw abilities, or with David Benavidez's camp, because he's a great pressure fighter and he knows how to come get him as well. Once he masters those skills and adds that to his repertoire and to his arsenal, this is going to be the best fighter in the world. This kid is going to be unstoppable watch. So I'm very, very excited about that. Shout out to Teofimo Lopez Jr. and Sr. I've always been a huge fan. The Takeover, baby. You guys are fantastic. One of these days, I'd love to get you on here and talk. My whole family's a bunch of New Yorkers, too, so I understand that bravado and that brashness. My father's from Brooklyn. Let's fucking go. You guys are fantastic. Keep it moving. Focus on this training. Dedicate yourself to the master, Eddie Reynoso. You know what I mean? You could table the stuff that you guys have already taught and like you do well and put that aside for now until you sharpen up these tools and put those in the toolbox. Then when you blend all that together, it's over. No one's touching this kid. Gervonta Davis is the only one that I think is even comparable to Teofimo Lopez, and you can argue that he's better or not better. We don't know until we see him actually test against real champions and real hard fighters and take top talent. But I look at that guy and I'm like, that guy's the real deal for sure. If they ever fought, it would be a banger. That would be a monster fight. I hope that happens in the future. I have Teofimo Lopez winning that fight, as a matter of fact. Not that Tank can't win it and can't knock him out. Obviously, he can if he touches you. He's got the ether hand. It's nuts. But I have Teofimo Lopez winning that fight. Remember, I said this. If that fight comes to fruition in the future, come back and watch this. We'll see if I'm right. All right, so that's done. Another thing I wanted to talk about. Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk 2 is rapidly approaching, and boy, can I not be any more excited than I am. This is like boxing porn to me. It's the highest level of boxing. It's heavyweights, the two most talented heavyweights in the division and almost throughout all of history, or maybe even in all of history. They're up there amongst the greats of the greats of the greats, skill-wise and what they bring to the table. So we are watching boxing at the highest level come in December here, and we already saw it the first time around. So I just want to give you guys a heads up. I already did a breakdown video about how I see the second fight going, and it's pretty thorough, and I have nothing else to say about it as far as like the technical sides of it in general. So I'm not going to be doing that video again, but I am going to repost that content the week of the fight, you know, so people could see it and like new viewers can see the stuff that I've done before. I don't like making the same video over and over again. Once I've said what I've had to say and I'm comfortable with it and I don't see anything else to add, I just let it be that. But I think that breakdown is one of my best. I think it's some of my best work, and I think it's going to be some of my best work for a long time. I think I have this nailed, tight nailed. I know I was wrong about Mike Tyson and Jake Paul, but that was a fixed fight. So if it went down in honesty, I'm pretty sure it would have went exactly how we saw it going, which is Mike Tyson destroying Jake Paul. Unfortunately, we didn't get that. But this one, I have such a good point of view on this in general and how I see it. I think everyone has Alexander Usyk beating Fury in general. I think that's the majority popular opinion. I see Fury coming back and getting his belts back. So if you want to see my breakdown on that, you could check it out on my TikTok clips. You'll see it down below a little bit. I'm going to be reposting it the week of the fight, so you'll get another chance to look at it then. Or you could just go to my YouTube page and just watch the full breakdown in its entirety. It's brilliant. So check that stuff out, guys. It's really good stuff. If you like boxing and you like these breakdowns, if you're a subscriber of mine, if you're watching my channel, I highly recommend at least that episode, if nothing else. So that being said, I just wanted to touch on those few things. Very excited for the not too distant future of boxing. Things are looking great. Things are looking up with the Saudis getting involved and hopefully Dana White as well. We'll finally start seeing the best fighting the best and all this like petty promotional nonsense that's going back and forth and this bickering about who's got the best fighters and come to my side of the street and all this business bullshit. Maybe that'll start going away and we'll start getting true, pure, real boxing again. Let's go. Tyson Fury, Alexander Usyk 2, Teofimo Lopez, Eddie Reynoso, Amanda Serrano, kings in the division. Let's fucking go. God bless and peace. Caw-caw.
KO.